The thoughts, views, and opinions of In the Red podcast and its host and our guest is strictly for entertainment purposes only.
All right. So by the time y'all are seeing this or listening to this or watching this, whatever it is, whatever media platform you're watching or listening on, first of all, let me say I appreciate y'all. Hope y'all had an amazing week or so or what have you. I've been dealing with a few. I'm going to touch on that real quick. So by the time you're seeing or watching this, my father has passed away, right? And I don't know, been in like a little weird place, you know what I mean? One, because, I've dealt with a ton of loss over the years. Like if you know, right? Whether it been friends, family, whatever, you know what I mean? At one point, my mother and I used to speak, and it'd be like, 5 people a year I would lose or whatever. So, done with a lot of loss, but when it came to losing my dad, it was like, so it was a feeling that I wasn't really expecting. It wasn't. It didn't feel familiar, put it like that. It's not a feeling that I was used to. So let me clear something up. So it's not like, we had this great relationship or whatever. No, it wasn't bad either. The problem is not even a problem, but the situation is, he's in another country. He's in Barbados, where, my family and I are from. And I'm here in the States. And so because of that, there's always been distance. My siblings, we're pretty close. So they always try to, keep us in contact. And I hear from the last time I seen them was, in person, was a good while. Probably, I want to say 2007 or something along that lines, whatever that was. But yeah, and it was a great time. It was, we had a good time, hung out, talked, laughed, joked around, even, went a couple of places together, and it was great. And so I can't say it was ever like a bad relationship. You know what I'm saying? I don't really have, any ill will or anything like that. But just to explain, and we're going to touch on a ton of things, right? So just bear with me a second, because I know y'all want to get to the whole Diddy situation and all that. I know, but let me just touch on this. I can't say it's like a weird place. There's no ill will. I never had no malice towards them, nothing like that. It wasn't that. And like I said, I've dealt with a ton of death and loss before, but like this is different, right? And it took me a while to understand or to be able to verbalize what the feeling was, and I was talking to my cousin today, and the best way I can explain or verbalize the feeling is disconnect, right? If any of y'all ever watch Matrix, right? To explain when I say disconnect, it's like not disconnected from not a disconnect, like a feeling like, oh, we weren't in contact. Not that kind of disconnect. It was like, if you watch The Matrix, you remember when they would get unplugged, right? But not the one that would put them in the Matrix, the other plugs, like when they were in that little bubble thing. It felt like somebody just pulled out one of those tubes, right? So it's like, you're together, but it's just like there's something missing. And the weirdest thing, why it was so hard to understand or verbalize, it was because, like I said, he's in another country and we weren't amongst each other's and didn't have that relationship like, oh, I can go out, just go see him or he can come see me. It wasn't one of those. So the feeling though is like, yo, man, it feels like you feel it, like it's in a weird emotion, and that something's disconnected, like something's missing. A part of you is missing, and it's just one of those things. I don't know. Somebody said, and I don't even, I'm not even laughing at, but somebody said maybe you need a good cry. And I don't know, they might be right or whatever, but the feeling is not that. Or I'm not there yet. It hasn't set in yet. I don't know, but that's just where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? So, I had an in-law that my mother-in-law passed a couple of years back, right during COVID. And, that felt sad, right? To this day, it still always feels sad because she was going through a lot health-wise, and losing her, and we were close. It felt sad. It still feels sad. This here feels sad, but like I said, it feels like it's sadness with feeling of like something is missing. A part of you is missing. A part of me is missing. All right, and that's the best way I can explain it. You know what I mean? But shout out to my siblings and all family and stuff that's involved, and that's it, man. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna drag it out too much because it's still fresh. It's still going on, but. SIP to my dad, man, and, he fought the good fight. And he is going to be missed, right? And I think that at this point, that's as far as I want to go with it, you know what I mean? Till I can maybe attach more words and emotions. It's a crazy thing because there was the night that I got the news, right? So I got it during the day. So I got one piece of information that he was sick and going to the hospital, like in the morning. And then by the evening, I was getting the information that he didn't make it. And he was just one of those guys that was just so bullheaded, and so much things has transpired in his life that it was just like, you were, shocked to kind of hear that it was going, like, he was sick and going down and that he might not make it or whatever through the week. And then when you hear he's actually going, like, for real, really? Confused. It was like almost confusing because he done been through so much. You're like, that ain't how I expected it to happen. Right? Because, like I said, so much things has happened to this guy, and he's been in so many situations that you're just like, he's too bullheaded to pass. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of the people I would thought that would have been like 101, right? I know, but that's just the way it is. But the night that I got the information, after everything settled, and I remember I was sitting in the living room, and I was just on my phone, and then everybody had went upstairs, kids, wife, everybody went upstairs. And all of a sudden, and and I said this on my gram, it was quiet, but loudly quiet, like a different kind of quiet, like eerily peaceful, right? It was the quiet was so outstanding that I remember standing up and going to look out the window, and like, not a car passed, nothing, like no cars was passing. And then I sat down. There was nobody outside. I sat down. I'm just taking in all of this silence. And then I had my phone in my hand, and I just put my phone down and enjoyed the quiet. And then I enjoyed the memories. And then the last conversation we had, and even, how we end up, meeting up to have that last conversation, because it was a freak thing. Like, I had went back to Barbados, and the hotel where I was staying at, one of the maids there knew him, and some way, somehow we got into a conversation, and she was like, "Oh, that's your dad?" And then she was like, "I know him. He lived right down the street from me. I'm gonna tell him you're here." Like, just crazy. So, all of those thoughts, you know what I mean, being on the phone with him, and you always have the feeling like, man, should have been more, and I try to live life with no regrets. I try to, instead of saying regrets, I use everything as a learning process, or it's a learning curve, right? So, because, I always say, like, regrets are just excuses, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So you feel like you could do more, and then I kind of got over that feeling, and then it was like, yo, what is this other feeling? And I'm like, damn, all these years of life, and I'm still finding new emotions. Man, it was sad, it was eerie, but it was still like kind of interesting. Like, well, this is a whole new emotion for me that I got to figure out, and that, you know what I'm saying? So, again, shout out to my dad, man. SIP, big homie. And yeah, that's it. That's that part. I'm not gonna dwell on that too much. And I know y'all all want to get to this Diddy shit, right? That's been going on for how long, and blah blah blah, right? So for that, a little applause for my dad. You did a good job, sir. Appreciate you. Love you. But, yeah, now for Diddy, man. I said this before on the pod, right? When the stuff transpired with him before, when the Cassie stuff first came out. Sometimes, I'm not going to pull any punches on this one. Listen, everything you think he is, right? It is what it is. Everything you think he is. Every story you heard is probably right. Here's the thing, though, man. Power is a crazy thing, right? And I was having this conversation just the other day and earlier tonight. Like, and like, how could somebody like get like that? They don't get like that alone, right? Like, these things are a learned thing over time, but power is trippy. Because what ends up happening, the mediocre things the things that you're used to that you call fun, right? And then you have now the money and the power to do those things tenfold, right? And then you do them. And then it's like, all right, what's the next thrill? And you got to keep finding a way to feed these endorphins that's going off in your body, because now you're starting getting numb to the stuff that pleased you when you were not so great, right? And then now it's like, I can exude this, not exude, but I can kind of force this power on to I can force my power over you and others, right? So now that's a thing. So now that trickles, sparks the endorphins. And then when that, now you got to figure out a different way. And then it just ends up going down this hill that you just cannot come back from. That's the end of that. You can forget about it. But, when all this going on, to be honest, who I really wanted to hear from spoke, right? And that would be Al B. Sure. I've been waiting for Al B. Sure to speak since the beginning of this, right? And if you don't know, go do your research, right? But just remember that one of the sons for Puff is Al B. Sure's son, right? And you have to wonder why you never get to see them together. Like what was up with that? And then as you dig deeper, then you start to realize, oh, this guy's been a maniac, right? He's been doing this. This is nothing shocking, right? So Al B. Sure spoke, and he put out a long thing. You can go to his page on Instagram. He put out a 3-part post, right? And he finally spoke his piece and told a lot of the truths, a lot of his truths, right? And because, there's his truth, their truth, and then the truth. But from what is known, he is again, his truth. Let me just keep it as that. He's speaking his truth. And just from his story alone, you would get the understanding of who these parties are and what they're about, right? Because it's easy to be like, oh, well, not everybody was involved, right? But you have to wonder, like, what was it, if they weren't involved, what was keeping them from talking? See, what some of y'all are missing is, like, y'all are just thinking that it's just, the Cassie situation and blah, 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 and that's what kicked us off. No, what's really transpiring is a lot of those higher ups that were blanketing and helping to keep this machine going, as crazy and as mad as the machine may have been and mayhem it was causing, they're leaving, they're gone. I don't know if y'all been paying attention to the music industry and some of those higher ups that are they're out of here now, and they're either retiring or what have you, stepping down or whatever. So they themselves don't have the power. There's new people, and those new people don't really rock with the old regime that was there, so to speak, right? They don't rock with the old habits of the vets, so to speak. So it's time for a new regime, right? You've seen it start with R. Kelly. And if you believe that this thing is just about Cassie, you are highly mistaken. Let me say this first. Cassie was not paid because she talked. She was paid to stop talking. Right? It wasn't about what she said that she was paid for, because it was already said. Why would I pay you if you already said the shit? She was paid to stop talking. Yeah. Think about that, right? If you already put out the story and it's already out there, what am I paying you for? And again, I told you, when the public, most of the public got the news about Cassie and the civil suit or blah, 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 that was already going on for months. It was just put out like right near the end. So it was like, all right, you're doing too much. Let me shut you up. So it was just a payoff to stop talking. You have to also think, that video that came out, as nasty as it was, you also have to think about, okay, that was in 2016, 2018, 2016, something like that, whatever year that was. But we're talking a good while ago. Do you truly believe that whatever hotel, and this is, we got to remember the party involved, right? They're not staying in some rinky-dink hotel. These hotels have high-profile people with high security, and those people go there to enjoy themselves or what have you, and for their privacy to be protected. You really think that hotel was holding on to that security footage from 2016, right? And there wasn't somebody there in management or whatever like, let me shoot this to TMZ and get me a quick $500,000. They probably would have got $2 million for that footage back then, right? So you gotta wonder, where did that come from? Who was holding on to it? Who dug into the crate? Why did it come out now? Why is everybody and y'all are talking about what's the other thing people have been saying? Because I watch a lot of, like, it's constant. Oh, this person, why ain't this person talking? And why ain't this person talking? Yeah, because people aren't stupid, right? You look at the charges first. Understand the charges. Go online. It's public record. Go online and go read what the charges are. Go look at the parties involved and some of the witnesses and stuff. I mean, yeah, there's no need for people to talk, because what the public is saying and what's actually happened are pretty much two different things. Like y'all are, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's Cassie, there's a thing, but look at the actual charges. Y'all are going off of the stories y'all have heard over time, but that's not what his charges are. The people who are involved are way bigger than just, your average R&B singer or rapper or whatever. Y'all talking about, oh, where's Meek and all this. Come on, man. That is small potatoes compared to what is happening. He was denied bail, right? Now, y'all see that, oh, yeah, he was denied bail, but you got to think, like, his house was raided before. If they really thought he was a flight risk, they would have been took his passport. He offered to put his passport up along with a bunch of $50 million or whatever. Like, that wasn't a court request. He put the request in and said, hey, I'm going to give you this, no phones, all this other stuff. And they still denied him bail. And people are like, oh, what? Well, just seen murderers that got off and, not got off, but, that at least got bail or whatever. True. So now you have to dig deeper. Why wouldn't they give him bail? Why didn't they take his passports from before, like, all this time? If they really thought he was a flight risk, where is he going to run to? Right. Next thing I hear, oh, he was going to go on the island with Russell Simmons and disappear. Why did I say, y'all don't really pay attention. Russell Simmons goes back and forth to the States all the time. All the time. He's in parties and he's had that retreat for, I don't know how, he's been working on that retreat for how many years. Celebs go there and hang out and go over the retreat and, because he's, there's yoga and all this other whatever, treatment thing. So, celebs that we know and love go there on the regular. They still rock with him and go to this retreat. He's had it for years. He goes back and forth all the time. He's in the States all the time, partying and chilling and hanging amongst people all the time. That's why I say, like, sometimes you just be saying these things and nobody's really, like, you hear a clip of something and you just run with it and you don't really have the true story. And then so you hear a piece, you go repeat that, and somebody repeats it, and then they add their stuff to it, and then it's just a bunch of bullshit. And nobody's really saying any of the truths, right? So, yeah, he goes back and forth all the time. He's not running things. And then where's Puff really going? Where's he going to go? Right? There has to be a reason that they and I just, I could say a bunch of things. I could tell you what my opinion is, but, at this point, like some of y'all, if you want to spread the rumor, or you just make it make sense. And here's the part that I don't like, that annoys me, right? And people would say, oh, well, it's because it's one of our own. Or no, because y'all don't go this hard. Y'all didn't go this hard when Epstein was caught, right? Yeah, just make jokes about it and be like, oh, he's going to get Epstein or whatever. But whatever you are hearing about this guy, Epstein, whatever you're hearing about Diddy, Epstein has been doing way worse for way longer, way more people involved, by far. And there wasn't this much uproar over that. That's the part that irritates me. Like, we just love to see our own go down, and I'm not defending them at all. I'm not defending them at all. So don't try to put those words on me or tag that or change the narrative. I'm not defending his bullshit at all. What I'm saying is, we need to start as a people putting the same energy on the others that do the same bullshit, right? We don't even talk about Weinstein no more. Barely, right? But he was a greaseball with video that we seen. Hollywood have been talking about him for the longest. All them women, you don't hear no cry about it, but nah, every blog site, it's just like the shit with R. Kelly. Same thing. And I say it again, if he is whatever he was guilty of, he should be charged for whatever he was guilty of. But at the same note, there is plenty of people on the other side that's done worse that we don't put the same kind of backlash against. Right? We don't blog about them against. And we should highlight them, because what ends up happening, they do their bullshit and then they get to go right back to work. Right back to work, and then we watch their shows. We watch their TV shows, or we go to their movies, right? But when it's one of ours, you can't play his music can't play on the radio and all this stuff. But when it's the other side, we watch their movies. We go to their shows. We still buy their songs. We do all of these things, and we still support them. And just talk about it over our shoulder. Oh, you remember he was caught doing such and no. You remember he said, yeah. No. Have the same energy. Do the same. Treat them the same exact way. Right? And watch it shift. Watch it shift. And what I will say with this shit, like, it's, you haven't really seen anything yet. Right? And who you think is going to come forward, that's not who's coming forward. Who you think is going to talk is not who's going to talk. Who you think is being implicated is not who is going to be implicated. The stuff that y'all are talking about and the rumors y'all are coming up with and this person and that person has nothing to do with it. You're not even going to hear from them. They have nothing to do with this. It's bigger than some of these Trump rappers. And I mean that respectfully. They are the bottom of the barrel compared to what's actually involved, right? Do your due diligence, pay attention, read up on some shit. Go read the actual charges. Go see what it is. And you'll see and you'll get it. And you'll be like, oh, this is a lot bigger than I thought. You think it's just the feds are on TV talking about, and the freak-offs. And the freak-offs have nothing to do with the actual charges. the baby oil. Let me tell you something, man, and just make it make sense. They raided his house, all three of his homes, just not too long ago, right? And now they do another raid, and now they find 500 and something sex toys and 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube, right? Miraculously now, right? And you wonder how all of this is transpiring, like why, how is it spiraling and blah, blah, blah. Let me say this, and I don't know for sure. A lot, it's my opinion. So, but I say it like this, sometimes, and I've said this before, when you are looking left, something is happening on the right, right? Y'all are thinking that the snowball is just it started with Cassie. Yeah, that could have been the start. But it needed somebody to keep the ball rolling, or people to keep the ball rolling. And I started this pod talking about the loss of my dad, right? And people in general, not everybody takes loss the same way. Not everybody feels loss the same way. And depending on and the loss of a parent, right, is rough on itself, right? But like I said, not everybody has the same mind frame, and it depends on how that parent passed, right? So sometimes the reaction of the child when they lose a parent, it can be, for the lack of a better term, a little shocking. And because of that, people's actions or that child's actions could be different. And it's not always a child. Sometimes it could be not just the child, but, the child lose a parent, but that child may have an aunt or an uncle or an ex, and when that person passes, there's you can't really tell people how to grieve, right? So people grieve in different ways, and, eventually, it comes to the surface, right? They might be holding things in, and eventually they can't hold in that grief anymore, and they decide to release it in a different manner. All right, so that's another thing to think about, man. Like, instead of just assuming, let me not say it like that, man. Like I said, instead of just thinking left, look a little right. Just turn a little bit and just pay attention. Hey, what's going on over here? Like, who's who on this side of the fence? Right, and then it'll start to make sense, and you'll be like, oh, okay. Right, now, I know y'all like, well, just say your name. No, do your due diligence. Pay attention. You people out there are smart, especially the people that come and watch here. Not because I'm some genius, but I'm assuming that the people who watch this and listen to this are smart people, right? And I'm hoping so. And smart enough to understand that, listen, sometimes you have to use a little bit of your common sense and make things make sense. I say that all the time. I've said that like from the beginning of time. If you are talking to me about something, you don't only just give me the facts first and then give me your opinion, right? So let's go with facts. The facts is, yes, he's behind bars. The facts is, yeah, his charges are one thing and not what it is. Now, how he's being charged and then how he's being charged by the public, two different things, don't count for anything, right? Will he be disgraced by the public? Yes, definitely so. He'll be probably forever a meme, but again, that does not have anything to do with his judicial process and what's happening, right? I'm going to touch back on this at another time. I'm going to wait a little bit. But like I said, the people who y'all are begging to talk really have nothing to say because it's not about them. And the minute they open their mouth and try to make it about them, they're going to be in hell of a hot water, right? So the best thing is just to shut the fuck up and say nothing. But I tell you this right now, from this day to going into first quarter, your music buffs are going to be super disappointed. Yeah. Who you thought was going to drop ain't dropping. Like everything is going to be on a standstill for a little while as this thing plays out, and they need to make it move as fast as possible so business can get back to normal as fast as possible. Because this arrest is not just about freak-offs. That's the light part of it. It's not just about freak-offs. But this is about business, right? And this arrest is slowing down business by far. Businesses, plural, are getting slowed down by far. Everything is coming to a standstill at a slow creep. So eventually, let me not say eventually, but what needs to happen is this process needs to happen pretty quickly. This is not going to be one of those drag out 2 years and all that other stuff. This is going to happen pretty quick. And whatever the outcome will be, right? But those who decided to, I watched a comedian the other day just jump out the window and make a video to talk to Diddy about his actions with Cassie. Bro, what does that have to do with you, man? Listen, two things I don't want. I don't want to hear your opinion about other celebrities, and I don't want to hear these celebs talking politics. Right? It doesn't make any sense to me. You can't say or do too much anyway. And talking about, oh, you ain't afraid of. Why do y'all people like to impose yourself on situations that y'all have nothing to do with? Nothing to do with. I couldn't understand it. I watched it like 3 times, and then I had to do my research and be like, yo, has he ever been, involved with this guy? There's nothing with the two of them involved, so I couldn't understand, like, where was it coming from? But you're those of you who are looking for your 15 minutes of fame, just remember that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you have people who are spiteful and they don't forget, right? You have people who have memories like elephants. I don't know if you know the history of elephants. Elephants don't forget. And what ends up happening when that, I don't know if I told the story on the pod before, but there was a story that was going around that a lady in the village, she was a poacher for elephants. And she killed this elephant's baby, killed a baby elephant. And the baby elephant saw her, and the lady got away. And that mother elephant sniffed that lady out all the way to her village, smashed into her home, and stomped her to death. Right? And then turned around, left the village. Didn't intrude on anybody else, just that lady's home. Then while the funeral was going on, the elephant came back and stomped the woman again in her casket, right, during her funeral. So again, I say, like, you got to remember, sometimes people are like elephants. They're spiteful and they don't forget, right? So if people get loose and free and are like, hey, let me double back and see who was talking. Just remember that 15 minutes could cause you a hell of a lot of pain. And I'm not talking about physical. I'm not saying that putting anything on anybody that's saying like, yo, they're going to physically do something. But why put yourself in harm's way for no reason at all? Mind your business. Stay clear of shit that don't have nothing to do with you. Right? Go mind your careers and all that. Cat Williams did say that, yeah, hey, this is the year of the truth. Right? Everybody's like, oh, he kicked this off. I believe it. But if you know what needs to be known, you'll understand that this been brewing for a while. Not just this situation, but all the little tidbits that's been happening since that interview. It's been brewing for a while. If you understand what you should understand and what you need to understand, you'll understand like, yo, this been brewing. This been about to happen. A lot of y'all seen it coming and was just like, you're not paying attention or whatever, and this don't have nothing. Yeah, no, it has everything to do with us, right? You want to pay attention? Go pay attention to the election. This is the first time in my lifetime, at least, that I've never seen like any other candidates like up for the election. Never. I've never seen that. Never seen it. Like, hey, there's nobody else that was trying to run. Just two. Nobody else on the line. People pay attention, man. There's so much other things you can be paying attention to. But for you music lovers, again, I say, hey, listen, it's going to be a slow next couple of months for your music. But don't worry, everybody's stacking up. You're going to have some great stuff coming out. You know what I mean? I got some sneak peeks into some people's music and, some of their projects and what they're about to put out. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be dope. But the problem is whenever it does officially drop, which doesn't seem like it's going to be anytime soon until this situation gets fixed. Well, but I could go on and on, but it's late on my end while this is being recorded. I would like to get some shut-eye and relax. Yeah, and I think I covered everything. Again, man, SRP to my dad. Love you much, man. You know what I mean? And that's it. And like I say all the time, man, I appreciate y'all. Y'all could have been here. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate you greatly. With that being said,